welcome to the Chamber Connection. I'm Regina Allison, president of the Blairsville Union County Chamber of Commerce. Thank you for joining us today. I have with me my first guest, Ray Covington, who a lot of you may know in Union County. He's the superintendent of the University of Georgia Mountain Research Education Center, which all of us know as the Experiment Station, a fun place to visit. So I thought it'd be great for him to come on and share about all the activities and opportunities that you have to be a part of that in our community. Ray, thank you so much for joining me today.
Happy to be here.
It's a pleasure to have you. Now, as the superintendent, tell me a little bit about your role and exactly what you do at the center.
Well, I oversee operations research related. I know it's kind of in the name, but I thought I'd just go ahead and mention that.
Sure.
Overseeing projects from researchers from Athens, from out of state, from private organizations. When they want to do a project, they come to me. I tell them if I have the resources and manpower to supply their needs. And then, of course, fiscal responsibilities, as most everybody does.
Right, exactly. Now, some of these requests, so it sounds like they come from out of state, from all over the place. They want to see how they can effectively grow some things, or is that pretty much what they're looking for information about? How was the best way to grow this, or how effective is it with this type of seed or plant, or?
Yes.
Okay. No. That's a good answer. No, I wasn't sure, because every time you drive by on 129 South, and everybody is familiar with this, you drive by and you're like, ooh, what are they growing this month on the right-hand side of the road? You know, some cool new plants. So that's kind of a testing area type thing.
Would you mind if I back up just a little bit?
Sure.
And tell you why Blairsville first.
Okay, good.
Because then that may tell you why so many different types of things.
Good.
We're in a Zone 6 area.
Okay.
You know what that means?
No, I have no idea.
Zone 6 is a USDA classification for climate in a certain area of the country. We're Zone 6. And if you kept going north from here into Ohio and lower Canada, guess what? Zone 6.
Wow.
Yeah, so that opens your eyes up and lets you know that work we do here has implications in New England and on up the seaboard.
Okay.
So Zone 6 means maybe your low is -5. And rainfall is abundant, cooler temperatures, things like that.
Okay.
And with that, you can grow crops like fescue grasses, different types of things that were cool climate things.
Right.
And so because of that, researchers from Athens, North Carolina, or other places afar want to use this little pocket of the mountains to investigate whether their plant breed or their tactic, their methods will apply for other places.
That's smart. So it's a small scale way to test it before they go big scale on it.
Exactly.
So that is really cool.
I know one researcher in particular, he developed this grass. It's called miscanthus. It's a beautiful ornamental grass. And he tested it here for one, to find out if it would survive, but second, to see if it would make seeds.
Okay.
And now, I know that doesn't sound important to you.
No, it's cool.
But there's one thing about it. The state of New York does not allow any of this grass in the state. Zero. But it is a fabulous ornamental grass. But through research that happened in Blairsville, because we have research that says it doesn't produce seed, it survives well, they allowed this one in the state.
That's great. That is really
And so small little question and answers like that have occurred throughout the research here.
Well, and I had no idea. That is really neat how impactful it is, just not in Blairsville, but all over the place. Now, I know as you drive up into the property more, you have blueberry bushes and apple trees. Tell us about those big things that you have going on with the apple orchards and the blue. I've been to one of the presentations where you could come and find out information about all these great blueberry bushes. It was fantastic, and you got to sample some, which was really good. I enjoyed that.
Absolutely, absolutely. Yeah, if you were able to come up the drive, you'd immediately find out how diverse we are.
Yes.
A lot of people driving down the highway, they see that we have a beautiful green lawn and can grow corn very well.
Yeah, that's true.
And locals, they say that all the time. What do y'all do there?
Right.
Well, you have to come on the property, and as soon as you get to the top of the hill, you start seeing the apple orchards, the blueberries, and things like that. And it just keeps going on and on. We're 415 acres.
Wow.
415, and just from row cropping land to mountainous row cropping with orchards to even cattle research.
Oh, neat.
So very diverse. So you're asking me, what are we growing up there?
Yeah.
It's just a little bit everything.
A little bit everything. Is there anything big besides the apple orchards and the blueberries? Do you have any other larger crops up there?
Up there on the hill, yes, wine grapes.
Oh, okay.
We have about 2 acres of wine grapes.
Okay.
And if any vineyard wants to come over and visit, that's fine, but you probably want to suit up because it's a disease research.
Oh, okay.
And the reason we have it there is, and disease, I don't know if you know much about diseases for wine grapes, but they can be very detrimental, and it's very expensive to put in a vineyard.
Sure.
So we kind of sacrifice our own. We let it go
Gotcha.
bad.
Okay.
And so when somebody comes up to the orchards and they say, oh, why are you letting these apples die? Or why are you letting these blueberries die? Well, these are for research purposes. We let the disease take over so that we can see if some methodology will take care of it and prevent it. And then that is disseminated or passed on to wine grape growers and whoever.
Okay. I thought maybe the wine grapes because the UGA students wanted to come up and
They do come up a lot more often lately, always around harvest time.
Yeah, I can understand that. Just a thought. I figured they would enjoy that part of it. Now, seriously though, but do you have students from the University of Georgia that come and that maybe they stay there for a couple of weeks or something as part of the research class that they're involved in with agriculture or something? How does that work with the University of Georgia?
A lot of our projects are longitudinal. They're not just a science experiment in the classroom.
Okay.
It can't be done in a day. It's either a season, multiple seasons. Some of our projects are 20 years.
Oh, wow.
But you asked about students. Yes,
Right.
we do have undergraduates who come and a professor will bring them and talk to them about a certain issue. We have grad students who have a project. At that point, they have a research project. We'll give them a spot, land, corn, whatever they need to do their work.
Cool.
And then finally, PhD students will come, and that's multi-year, and to spend their time working on a specific answer to a question. And then, of course, researchers, and theirs is always ongoing, usually 3 years, sometimes up to 20-year projects. So yes, we do have students. We don't have faculty at the Research and Education Center, though.
Okay.
So we just have students. But they come up from Athens and they go back, or they come down from North Carolina State and go back.
And they take some wine grapes with them. No, I'm kidding. Just teasing you. Now, I know that you partner with local organizations in our community, such as with Melissa Matee, who is our extension agent. Tell me a little bit about that partnership that you have with her, since agriculture is your expertise, and she helps with our local community with that. So tell me a little bit about that relationship you have.
It's a wonderful dynamic having her in place here and the experiment station. Yeah, I called it experiment station. Well, let me tell you, back up a little bit. We're both under the College of Agriculture and Environmental Sciences at UGA.
Okay.
And there's 3 legs that support that college. One is education, the students we mentioned.
Sure.
The second is research, and that's my field. And so supporting efforts for all those researchers who want to come down and study something, providing support, personnel, equipment, whatever they need. And then once they find an answer, they're the specialists, they know the answer, that type of thing. Now going over to Melissa, she's extension, the 3rd leg. And she's very competent, very wonderful young woman. And if the homeowner has a question, she can most likely answer it. But if there's ever something that's in a more profound, she calls that specialist. And it's often ones that we know. We communicate with all the time, who may have work going on at the station. And what's neat is that Melissa can be the bridge between the two, because she can, if there's a certain problem with a grower in their fields or whatever, bring that to the specialist. Specialists bring it to us for some study of some kind to hopefully find an answer to that problem.
Yeah, that's neat, because I know she does. We've had our soil tested before when we were getting ready to grow a garden, so we sent it in, brought it into the extension agent for them to test. And then, so if there was a problem with something, if she didn't know the answer, it sounds like then she would come to you and say, okay, this homeowner's having a problem with their soil, and that's neat. I didn't realize the relationship that you guys had.
Yeah, we have
really
different
neat.
bosses, but really we work under the same college.
Well, that's okay. No, that's a good thing. That's a good thing. Okay, now I have to ask, because I know you've gotten this question a lot. What happened to the sunflowers?
What sunflowers?
What sunflowers? I know we talked about that earlier, and you're like, okay, I need to talk about the sunflowers.
They were beautiful, weren't they?
They were gorgeous. Yeah.
Had a little free piece of land on the property, and we put a cover crop on it. If you don't know much about cover crops, we put crops on fields in the wintertime to protect them.
Okay.
And in the summertime, that was a summer cover crop. It's a fantastic cover crop. It was just protecting that little piece of land we didn't have research on until now.
Oh, now you do. So there they went.
Until now. And I'm sorry I had to give it up, but it's kind of a good thing. We have more projects going on right now than we have in, for my records, the past 12 years.
Oh, wow.
Past 12 years. Lots of people wanting to use our facility. And really, I think it's 2 components. It's fabulous, wonderful support personnel who are knowledgeable and very professional. And the second is that the location. Like I said, Zone 6, we have this fine microclimate which works well for the area. So why did I give up the sunflowers is so that we can expand and do more.
Sure. That
Absolutely.
makes sense.
You know, we're up to 30 projects varied from cattle research, from forages like alfalfa, fescues, orchard grass, to row cropping like corn and soybeans, up the hill to orchards and the apples and things, and it's growing. I'm still getting calls most every day of the week for somebody wanting to do more.
Oh, wow. So then they probably have to be on a waiting list because you've got to, serve your time with those projects you're currently existing in their grow time. And
I don't like to say no, but we're getting to the point where either we have to have more help or more land or more space or something like that.
Oh,
but that's a good thing for the community too.
It is.
It's a good thing for agriculture.
Well, you mentioned help, and I know one of my favorite people, I love Claire Johnson. She's a wonderful lady, and she's one of the volunteers there. If somebody wanted to help out and to volunteer, how would they get involved in that?
Oh, well, just give me their name, and then we'll put them on a list, and
you got it.
they're going to get emails from now on. Now, I'll tell you what, it just depends on your interest. If you like gardening,
right.
you like native plants, we have a committee, a group of people that love to do that, and they'd love to have you. Or if it's working with kids, young kids, older kids, whatever, leading educational groups like Johnny Appleseed and All About Trees Environmental Field Day. Those are all great experiences. Or if you like working with adults through seminars, I know you say you've been to some of those as well.
Yes, they're great.
Can I go ahead and transition into community council
since
we're talking about that anyway?
That's what's going to be my next thing I was going to ask you about. Absolutely.
Well, the council was formed in 2004. It had its roots in an earlier organization called an arboretum. And it was fantastic, but it never really truly grew until 2004 when it became the community council. And it formed those arms of education, outreach, and education. Did I say education twice?
Education, outreach.
Preservation and preservation.
Right.
And once they formed those arms, it just grew exponentially. You have any idea how many kids come to our place every year?
No, but quite a few. Both of my boys have been there on field trips, and you always have a lot of field trips coming to there. I know.
In 2001, when I started, I know we served about 300 to 400 kids a year. Last year was 4,309 children K through 6. And then we also had adults over 1,000. And so it's grown a bit.
Yeah, it has. Wow.
And every bit of that supported with local fundraising. Mostly corporate, but a lot of local people who want to give as well. It's fantastic.
It is. That's wonderful. That is so exciting. So, and if they, again, wanted to donate funds,
just give me a call.
Just give him a call. He'll take check, cash. Okay. Just kidding. So, well, Ray, it has been a pleasure having you on. Thank you for sharing about everything going on, and I look forward to having you back at some point with an update about some of the new projects as we get further on down the road. So thank you so much.
It was a pleasure.
It's a pleasure getting to have you on here. So we'll be right back.
Escape to Blairsville, where you can live your American dream. Go to visitblairsvillega.com for your free mountain getaway guide.
Welcome back to this episode of the Chamber Connection. I have with me two other very special guests. Jim Brown, who works for Edward Jones, and you guys know him with the We Are Still Here project that's been ongoing, and John Chitwood, Service Plumbing and Septic, and he is also a part of the team as well. Guys, thank you so much for coming on the show today. I appreciate it. I've been looking forward to this, Jim, since the last time we talked. And if you have not seen these rack cards, they are available in the Chamber office, so you want to stop by and pick some up. Now, Jim, you've been integral in this project ever since the inception, so tell me a little bit of background for those viewers that may have not be familiar with it.
So, Regina, this is the 200th anniversary of the signing of the Cherokee Agency Treaty that was signed in 1817. It relinquished lands in Habersham, Gwinnett, Walton, and Hall counties for lands in Arkansas. And since this is the 200-year anniversary, we decided to honor the Muskogee Creek and the Cherokee peoples who once called Georgia home. The artist that we found, Daniel Horsechief, is a Cherokee Pawnee artist. It has since come out, since we commissioned him, that his third great-grandfather was actually the signer of that treaty.
Wow.
And he gave up lands in Oakman, Georgia, as well as in Habersham County. So this artist is coming home the same as so many of the native sons and daughters will be.
That is really interesting. So, and you guys, I know, put a lot of hard work in this, and you are right there.
We're there.
Yes. So, is the statue completed yet, or?
The statue is cast. They're working on the patina. It's in Colorado at his foundry, And so we are down to the final weeks. All the money's been raised for the statue. We're still raising other monies for incidentals, but it is about 93, 94, 95% done.
Wow, that is really exciting. So now I know that there's been a lot happening since we talked last, Jim. John, can you give me an update of some things that's been going on with the project in the group the last few months?
Everybody in the project's worked really hard about bringing about some fundraisers, and the local restaurants have been so kind to open their doors and invite us all in and make contributions to the project, and we've just been really proud of it.
That is really exciting. Well, tell me, for you personally, what does this project mean to you, John?
I was taken by the project from the beginning. I was the first person to volunteer for the project, and I'm really proud of that. And I'll say now we need more people to volunteer right now to be able to join in and see this project to completion and truly be a witness to a great project. But for me, it's been one that you can see the imagination and the heart in it, so you kind of gravitate toward it. It's really a wonderful, heartfelt project.
Yeah, this is really exciting. The significance of it, I mean, it's not lost on anybody who hears the story. It is really neat. So, but there's another little side story, Jim, you were telling me about a few minutes ago that coincides with 2017 with the ancestry with the Native Americans. Tell me a little bit about that. So
there's an old story amongst the Cherokee peoples that the Cherokee, as well as a lot of southeastern tribes, were terrified of eclipses. Anything that happened planetary-wise could be assumed to be supernatural, and so there were beliefs in spiritual beings. And the Cherokees believed that the sun, during the moment of an eclipse, was swallowed by a spirit frog, a Walushi. The last major total eclipse we had here was approximately 500 years ago, Regina.
Wow. And
so at that time, they had limited contact with Europeans, so they would have still been living a very supernatural being. And it was said that when the sun was swallowed by the frog, that the Adawahi, the wise men, had to gather everybody up, told them to get to the town center, and told them to bang their rattles, bang their drums, bang their pots, anything they had, make as much noise to scare the frog. It worked. They scared the frog, and the frog spit up the sun. And so here we are 500 years later. And I think it's ironic, the second time that's going to occur, and we've got them coming back.
Right. Yeah,
back
with
to their homelands.
A little more than a month apart, too.
Correct.
Or a little less, actually, because August 21st is the eclipse,
the
and
day.
then September 17th?
21st.
21st. Oh, my gosh, to the day, a month apart. Wow.
So it's really exciting.
That is neat. Okay, so tell me about the event coming up in Meeks Park. What do you guys expect that day? I know that's going to be the grand unveiling of the statue, correct? Is that...
Yes, tell us what we're expecting.
I mean, do you have, I know there's been some chiefs that you guys have been contacting, reaching out to and talking through, so they're planning to attend along with people from the community, or having like a big festival to celebrate, or what kind of scope of event are you guys having?
What we're hoping for is the attendance of several chiefs, but more importantly, the members of those tribes.
Right.
Anyone that's connected in any kind of way to an Indian heritage or cares needs to attend. It's about how you're accepting it. It's about how you're taking on this project, and we feel everyone would be welcome. We're hoping for a nice crowd.
Yeah.
And the statue is going to be placed on a boulder that was placed in Meeks Park, and it's so fitting that statue of a child playing a game is in Meeks Park. So
that is very fitting.
We're very proud of it.
And it's going to be technically we call it lacrosse, but they call it stickball?
Stickball actually precedes lacrosse.
Precedes lacrosse, okay.
So originally the creator gave the game to the animals. The animals saw the problems that the human beings were having, and at that time they could still talk, so they handed it over to the humans. It's still played by southeastern tribes. There's a little bit of differences. But sort of what we're expecting is to have several of the tribal leaders speak on that morning. Lamar Paris, Jim Conley. It will be emceed by John Chipwood.
Hey, there you
Believe
go.
And then we've really got a special thing lined up. So Jerry Wolf is the first beloved man of the Eastern Band in 200 years. And he's on board with coming down to narrate the game of stickball, the history of stickball. And as he narrates it, we're planning to have 2 stickball teams call each other out from behind him.
Nice.
And meet on the field and do a several-minute exhibition play while he calls the game as a color commentator. We'll break. We'll go up and do the unveiling. There's several local churches that have come together that want to feed the tribal members.
That's great.
Because for a lot of these tribes, they're like Baptists. If you get 2 or more together, you're supposed to eat. And so we thought, the churches thought it would be a neat thing to be involved. Coosa Methodist has gone way above and beyond the call of duty. And so we wanted to give them a piece, but kind of looking at releasing them on Thursday afternoon. Friday, we're hoping to host an all-day stickball tournament and then a very religious event for the tribes that would really cement the spirituality, the emotions of them coming home here in Blairsville. Saturday, they'd have an opportunity to kind of tour the historic sites in Blairsville, and they would make their way home Sunday.
That is really neat.
But I will say this, Regina, we had the opportunity, Kathy Tiger Garrett and I went out to the Intertribal Council of the 5 Civilized Tribes here back in June, I think. The significance of it was we had the Deputy Chief of the Cherokee Nation. We also had the Chief Floyd of the Muskogee Creek Nation. But we also got to address the Seminole Nation of Oklahoma, the Choctaw Nation of Oklahoma, and the Chickasaw Nation. They all said they wanted to come back. And it was a very pointed question that they asked, does your governor, is he involved in this? And I had to tell them, we're working for a letter. They didn't mince words when they said an invitation from the state of Georgia and the governor's office would be a very historic event. I said, when you say it's a very historic event, a letter from the governor, what does that do for the tribes? Not only would it go in tribal headquarters as part of their history, they said that letter would also be sent to the Smithsonian Institution, to the National Museum of the American Indian, because no community has ever done this before, and no state has ever invited its people home.
Well, that sounds like it's going to be a huge event, a lot of fun. And that's neat that you guys are doing the stickball tournament. I think that would be interesting for people to see, so they can...
And it will.
Yeah.
We're going to play it off pride. The Choctaw play it their way, the Cherokee play it their way, the Creek is their way. The Choctaw actually host the World Series of Stickball every year.
Wow.
And so they've already said they were the best, and there was no need for a tournament, so we just kind of plugged it. We know the Cherokee are coming, and they think they play better stickball, and that was, the gauntlet was thrown. And
oh, yeah. They're talking schmack. Oh, yeah.
Oh, yes.
Oh, yeah. There is, there's got to be a tournament then. Absolutely. So that is really neat. So very cool. So it sounds like you're expecting 4 to 5 tribes to come
7
back.
tribes.
7 tribes, okay.
The Eastern Band of Cherokee, the United Cadua Band of Cherokee, the Cherokee Nation, the Muskogee Creek Nation, the Choctaw, Chickasaw of Oklahoma, and the Seminole Nation of Oklahoma.
Wow, that's impressive. So
that's scary.
That is really interesting. So a lot of hard work I know has gone into this, and it's going to be really neat to have that statue there. Can you tell us roughly where it's going to be in the park? I know you said it's going to be on top of a boulder, but is it going to be when you first drive into Meeks Park, maybe turning left right there? Or?
As you're coming into Meeks Park, you'll pass by some pavilions on the left-hand side.
Yes.
And then the first little parking lot that you come to is the placement of the stone now and the statue. It's going to be a really nice venue for people just to pull up and to be able to go view it.
Sure.
It's really good placement.
Yeah, that's
we're real proud of it.
Yeah, absolutely, absolutely. So, and the group that I know originally started this and had the vision for this project, hopefully all of them will be able to be in attendance as well and celebrate.
They're going to be there.
That's great, because I know that's been a long road, a lot of hard work. So.
Well, I mean, there's been so many people that don't surface. All the monies were raised from nickels and dimes and quarters from people in towns in Union and Fannin and Lumpkin counties. This was really designed to be a project that would spur tourism and economics and a spiritual tie here. And just like what the Eclipse is doing for the communities, one of our biggest concerns is, do we have hotels, do we have restaurants for these people? So they're coming. They're going to eat and stay somewhere.
Well, that's great. And the Eclipse will be over, so we should have some space freed up again. So, no, that's going to be really exciting. Be neat to have them here. So that'd be very fun. So, John, I heard that you had a filmmaker from the Choctaw Nation that was interested in the project and actually was filming a documentary.
Yeah, he just left out. He actually sent us a little snippet that you can view on the website. It just came out recently, but it's Mark Williams. He's with Native Boy Productions or something like that out of Oklahoma, and a really nice guy. He came and interviewed a lot of the members, and he's making a documentary that's going to be presented to the chiefs, and or was presented actually on July 6th to the chiefs, and so they kind of got an idea of what's going on. We hope that's going to bring about a lot of attention and a lot of people coming out.
Well, that is really exciting. So that, and I know, Jim, you had mentioned that film, they're going to be highlighting Blairsville at the Cherokee, what was it again?
The Cherokee National Fair.
The Cherokee National Fair. That's really exciting. So, and how did he hear about that, John? He said somebody had heard about it and reached out to somebody else that maybe had met you guys and kind of one of those situations. That is really neat.
Yeah, and Jim talked to him for some time before he ever started, and came out. And he's been around the county and interviewed a lot of just the citizens of Blairsville and Union County.
Oh, that's exciting. Now, is Blairsville going to be able to see the film when he's done with it? Are we going to have it somewhere that it's going to be playing? Or
we're going to make sure it's somewhere.
Okay, good. We get the follow up on that later. So great. Well, thank you, John. I appreciate that. Thank you so much.
I might also add too that David Dukes with PBS, the Georgia Public Broadcasting System, is also becoming involved with this.
Oh, great.
And we're hoping for it to be aired on GPTV.
Oh, that would be really great. That'd be great. So good. We'll look forward to hearing more about that. So
thank you.
Great. Well, thank you for coming on the show.
Thank you for having us.
John, appreciate your time. Jim, thank you for the update.
Yes,
so congratulations on getting everything finished with the statue and right there with just the rest of the fundraising. So if you're still collecting donations,
yes, ma'am.
So who can they call you, Jim or John, or who should they reach out to if they still want to make a donation to the project?
One of the easiest ways they can do is go on Facebook or to www.Blood Mountain We're Still Here.
Okay.
And there's a place to click and make a donation, and it works really well.
Good.
But if you approach any restaurant around Blairsville, they can normally give you the information on this.
Great.
But they can also go to UCBI.
Okay,
and make
that's
a
where the
donation
account
That's
is
exactly right.
for the donation.
Yep.
Very good. Okay, well, that's good information to know. So
Thank
thank you
you,
guys so much.
Thank you
Look
for having
forward
us.
to coming to that event. It's going to be a lot of fun. So thank you.
It's very true that once you take care of a customer, they're going to remember that. That's what's so great about living and working in the same community. I'm able to have an impact with work, then I'm able to see these same people out in the community and get to know them on a personal level. My name is Jerry Bradford. I'm a retail consultant. My name is Hope Crawford. I am a business sales specialist with Windstream. Our commitment is simple: provide a best-in-class customer experience through our network and our people.
Thank you for joining us today on the Chamber Connection. I'm Regina Allison, President of the Blairsville Union County Chamber of Commerce. I'd like to thank our special guest, Ray Covington with the University of Georgia Mountain Research and Education Center, and Jim Brown and John Chitwood with the We Are Still Here project. So we are out of time today. They shared some great information with us, but be sure to check out our website at visitblairsvillega.com. There's a lot of events coming up and happening right now in our community, so you're not going to want to miss it. Thank you again for joining us today, and I'll see you next time.